Hey, what's up guys? Tuki here, back again with another video with more NHL 21 news. We already were able to break down the trailer and the feature list just a few days ago. Make sure to check out that video if you haven't already done so. Today, World of Chel. I hate the name. Eashl is the topic of discussion. So let's get right down to business here, shall we? Obviously, in terms of this, that's just a basic overview of what's there. The first thing of note is the new World of Chel Seasons overview, which is pretty straightforward. Obviously, you still have your whole Pro-Am, which is the offline stuff, your basic multiplayer, which is OTP, and clubs. Now, the big thing here is that it's not quite season pass-like. It's not quite Fortnite-ish, but I guess you can think of it in that way, where there are going to be roughly 6 seasons, 6 to 8 weeks in duration, where you build up your rank. Now, in terms of that resetting back to rank 1 at the end of the season, that's what I presume, but I don't know for sure, so that's what I mean in terms of being Fortnite-esque. But they've reworked the way that playoffs work in EASHL. Because now, unfortunately with the playoffs, I used to love playoff time, the end of the month, NHL 12, NHL 13, going through the playoffs, trying to make a run. It was fantastic. I loved it. But over the past few years, I mean, man, if you try to find a playoff game, it was incredibly difficult to do so, at least for my club, to the point where over the past couple of years, we've really just never played those playoff games. Now at the end of these seasons, it essentially transfers over to playoff time for the final 2 to 3 weeks of the season, which I think is fantastic. Essentially, you're moving everyone from season mode, from the regular season to the postseason, all in one smooth kind of transition. So I think that's fantastic. You do get end of season rewards as well for both player and club, as far as I'm aware. So honestly, I think it's a really good new take on the playoffs. And like I said, it kind of gives you something to look forward to, rather than just all year long you're looking at the leaderboards. Now it's on a season by season basis, where you look at the leaderboards and you're playing for something throughout each and every one of these seasons. So like I said, really kind of Battle Pass-esque in that, you get the reset season and you start the grind all over again for those new rewards. So I honestly really do like that. You have the 3v3 finals, the 6v6 final, and of course 3's eliminator is still in, which of course I'm very happy about. I talked about it a couple years ago, like when NHL 3's was first added. I'm like, okay, there needs to be an online component, and some of the most fun I've had playing NHL 20 has been through the 3's eliminator this year. So I know it wasn't like the biggest feature that a lot of people cared about. Some people probably rolled their eyes at it, but it was a lot of fun, all things considered. So again, you get a look here. You have, whoops, almost scroll back out there. Shows you how much we have to talk about, huh? But we have here, all things considered, let's scroll back up. So you get to a certain rank, you get, your platinums, your diamonds, your elites, and that counts for 1s, 3s, drop-ins, and clubs. So no matter what you play, you are ranking up your player, and your reward tier throughout the season, which is fantastic. Player rank is the next thing, which is basically CR. So now, I guess kind of Rocket League-esque with the badges, where you get a bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, or elite level badge. So reach level 10 to participate in player rank, then play through the required placement games to determine your initial rank. So 6 tiers, again, each tier has 3 ranks, so this isn't very surprising. Obviously, like you would have seen here, Diamond 2, Elite 3. FIFA is another real comparison for this, with some of the season modes they've had, or the squad battle rewards. Granted, we have it this year too, and in NHL 20 we've had it with squad battles. So I guess I kind of like that. Some people are going to be, oh, okay, you just reskinned CR, and yeah, that's what they did. But I'm cool with it in a way. I do find systems like this more interesting, personally, when grinding a game, than having CR, which can go up by 5 or drop by 200, depending on the results of the game. Elite 1 being the highest rank that you can go for, and keep the highest rank you achieve in that season. So again, CR-wise, you don't lose it. Like if you're an Elite 1 and you outshoot somebody 50-2, but you lose 1-0, you're good. You're still going to get credit for finishing in Elite 1, rather than like, well, shit, because of that I finished in Elite 2 and now I don't get as good of rewards. So I like that as well. And again, you get rewards based off of your rank in each of the 4 kind of game modes, 1s, 3s, ESHL, and, well, both versions of ESHL, drop-in and clubs. So, the biggest thing in the world? No, but I do think it is going to make clubs more interesting for those who just, play clubs for the sake of playing clubs. Obviously, if you're like a super competitive player in the Sixes community, is this going to do anything for you? Probably not. But for the average player, I think this is a pretty cool little reworking to keep people invested all season long. And like I said, you get rewards too based off of it, which is nice. I mean, you're going to get hockey bags and XP to level up even further. It's fine. And then again, the club finals, which again is pretty cool. And I know that just sounded like, oh, hey, I'm hyping up the game. But I do think it's cool that they're at least doing something to make the playoff games kind of feel like playoff games finally, because how many years have we had the playoffs? So it's like, oh, well, it says playoffs on the ice. But, this one's nice at least in that you'll be playing on an outdoor rink, which is kind of cool. It spices it up. It makes it a little bit different. Will it get old quickly? Yeah, but I do like it quite a bit. And again, the comparison to the online seasons divisions. So you have the Rookie Cup, Pro Cup, All-Star Cup, Superstar Cup, and Elite Cup. It's the same thing that we used to have, just a little bit expanded. Obviously, I think we had, Rookie, Pro, and Elite level playoffs. So again, I do wonder how much they might split the player base here by having 5 tournaments in which people are divided into rather than 3. I do wonder how difficult that'll make it to kind of find games in a way, but again, with playoffs being reworked, it's not like it used to be where you just have to sit there and search for that. Specifically, if you search a game for the final 2 to 3 weeks, it's going to be a playoff game no matter what. So, like I said, this reworking, I'm digging it, personally. Like I said, it's kind of nice to refresh it, see what you get. You get the banner, which you always used to get anyway. You get the club rewards, which is nice as well. So, yeah, I'm good with it, man. It gives you something new to grind towards. Some things are a little bit reworked. Like, okay, now there's 5 playoffs instead of 3. You've changed CR out for a badge level. At the end of the day, are some of these just slight reworkings and retweakings? Yes, but like I said, I really think it's going to help keep clubs interesting throughout the year, up until like the final season or two. If that final season for 6 to 8 weeks, you basically talk about the last 2 seasons that'll go through the summer. Obviously the interest level is going to drop off by that point, but I think in general, I'm really excited for the first couple seasons of EASHL. Whether or not I play with the club that I've played with for years, with a group of my friends, or if I, start up something new with fellow streamers, maybe I'll play with viewers this year, I don't know, we'll figure that out, on Twitch, but yeah, I kind of like that reworking. The other thing that they've added back in practice mode is finally back in. You get club scrimmage, open practice, and a free skate mode, which is nice for, you get it from the 3s or 6s dressing room, and basically you can set it up as you want to. You're allowed to play against the full AI like you used to be able to do. There's the open practice where it's just you guys, and then there's the free skate. So, very nice to see them add this into the game. And again, I know some people are going to be like, oh cool, we're back to giving them credit for adding stuff back in that they took away years ago. I get it. Trust me, I'm not patting them on the back for this one. I like the rework that we saw up here. A lot of it's the same, but I think some of the tweaks make a lot of sense. This one, I'm not necessarily patting them on the back for. I think it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, you should have had that in this whole time. Good for adding it in, but you don't get kudos for that. But at the very least, I can still be happy that it's back in the game. Now, the trait rework is interesting, right? Because right here it says all traits want to have 2 variations, blue and purple, which the blue corresponds to 1, the purple corresponds to 2, which is the same thing. It's just they're colored icons now. It says both variations share the same high impact bonuses, but have different trade-offs instead. So that is where it differs. I do believe before, if you had precision 1, let's just say you lost shot power and balance, and if you used precision passing 2, you'd lose even more on the shot power and the balance. Now precision passing 2 will take away shot power and balance, and 1 will take away like stick checking and shot blocking instead. So I do like that rework quite a bit. There's room to make it even more interesting, all things considered. So at the end of the day, I was initially on the side of having these preset builds, but over time I've certainly come back to like, it would be nice to have these custom builds yet again. So I don't know, in terms of where custom builds are at this stage, I think this is a nice change to have, you know, even more customization options with these traits. But would it be nice to have custom builds back in due time? Yes. Like I said, I think there are positives and negatives to both the preset builds that we've had for the last couple of years and the old school 360 PS3 era custom builds. You know, I think there are benefits to all of those, really. Admittedly, though, I will say, you know, my biggest negative for the custom builds back in the day was that you had the boost packs. And it did make EASHL, you know, kind of feel play to win at times, especially because a lot of those boosts would correspond to like grinding the hell out of Be a Pro, and who the hell was going to do that? So you pretty much had to spend money to get the best boost unlocks. If you bring back custom builds but don't have that, I think I'd be cool with it. But yeah, end of the day, for what this is, I do like it quite a bit. It says you'll earn the traits as you level up, so I guess you're not going to have access to every trait out of the gates, and it says we'll be introducing new traits at the start of each season. So I'm very intrigued to see how that goes. At the start of season 2, you have to complete your placement games, and then you get the new traits. So I'm very intrigued to see how slowly they roll some of these out, and really how they end up working throughout the game. And of course, you know, which ones unlock and when. I think it's interesting enough for someone who has had his interest waver in clubs over the years. Like I said, is it the biggest thing in the world? No. But so far, so good. Here's the big one, though. They removed Marathon Man. So you can't just sprint up and down the ice the entire time. So allow players to try out the specialties without feeling like they're missing out on an overpowered specialty. So I agree with that. It was almost a requirement, especially in threes. It was a requirement to run Marathon Man because you were going up and down the ice so frequently. So I like that, and we're going to see more of those kind of tier 3 specialty traits in NHL 21, which I like quite a bit. And then there are some other things. One's eliminated. They got rid of a round to help reduce matchmaking times, which I agree with. Recent game list for threes dropping in clubs, you can have, you know, further team stats and stuff like that, which I am perfectly good with. Server selection for private games, which is huge for the competitive sixes community, so I'm very happy with that. Finally, now look, I'm holding my breath on this one. They're saying that they finally fixed it. Human goalies who go to the bench get to be the extra attacker. We have seen this before, and it got removed because it was buggy. I think it's been removed twice because it was buggy, so I'm holding my breath with this one, but it would be great to finally have that be a thing. And they have reworked the menus a little bit, thank God. There's still... And that was one of the big things that every major game changer that you know banged on about was, for the love of God, can we fix the menus here? So whether it be, I mean, Nuge is the first one that came to mind. Anytime we were asked as game changers, hey, what do you think should be changed? I think Nuge's number one thing was menus all the time. So yeah, it's nice to see those reworked as well, so you don't have to hit 18 buttons just to get into a lobby. And then there have been new stats added as well to the stat sheet, which honestly, again, is pretty cool. And I think would help in a way, helps a lot, I think, to have these, especially if we can see them in-game. It would help a lot to be able to help track players in competitive leagues, but especially, too, just to check the EASHL leaderboards and be like, oh, my passing percentage is 42%. I suck. You know, it'd be nice to know that. So, all things considered, are there major changes for EASHL? Depends on what you define as major changes. At the end of the day, and I told people this, Be a Pro gets that big boost this year. Franchise mode, I've already talked about it a little bit in that last video. You know, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, some smaller stuff that you wouldn't put as a big box feature, but there is the whole new trade deadline mode, essentially, or not mode, but like this trade deadline sequence. That's the big thing for franchise mode, right? We've already seen that. But, you know, again, do we have the biggest changes for EASHL? No. But this year, if there was ever going to be a year to be like, hey, let's focus on Be a Pro, this was the year, and then NHL 22-23 really start hitting hard again with, you know, evolving EASHL. So like I said, for me, what we see here, I am more than fine with. I love the idea of the seasons and making playoffs mean something again. I'm cool with the player rank system instead of having CR. I think CR was a very dumb system. to begin with. I like the idea of playoffs having their kind of own special feel with the outdoor rink. We'll see what happens with the 5, playoff brackets instead of 3. Practice mode being back in is sweet. I like the reworks to the traits, although again, I'm very much on the fence over whether or not I'd like to see custom builds come back. There's some good quality of life stuff here as well. I think they did pretty well for EASHL this year. Again, if there was ever a year to be like, oh, well, let's cut them a tiny bit of slack, maybe if they didn't add in everything that we'd want them to add in, this is the year to cut them some slack given the circumstances. So we got the World of Chel news out. Next up, mid-September, is Gameplay Hut, and then the big news, of course, further deep dive into Be a Pro and franchise just before the game drops. So that is the game plan there. So again, that'll do it for this one. If you missed the other video talking about just kind of like the general features list and me going in depth on that, you can check out that video from a couple days ago. Let me know what you think. The EASHL changes for NHL 21. Are you excited? Are you at least happy but not blown away? Are you incredibly disappointed? Let me know what you think down in those comments below. For now, though, you know the deal. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Help me out. Help this channel out. Subscribe if you have not already as well. And of course, check out everything in the description. The Twitter, the Twitch, the Discords, the Instagrams, everything is there. And I will see you guys in the next one when we get to talk about some gameplay.